Welcome to the Asset Mindset Podcast. Today, we have another awesome Green Beret, same time frame as me. We've already shared some stories, and I'm sure you're going to get to hear some of them. But Chad here is my next guest, and man, he's been through a lot. Like most people that I have on here for the Asset Mindset, Chad has the Asset Mindset. He's overcome obstacles. He's struggled, had issues with health, come back. He's given back. He's surrounded himself with good people. And Chad, it's an honor to have you here. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and let them know a little bit who you are and what you do with your nonprofit and all the work you do?
Dan, first off, thank you for allowing me to be on here to join your murderers row of guests. So I'm honestly, thank you for that. Uh, so I'm a small town boy done good. Came from Southern Ohio, found my way into college to be a nurse practitioner in pediatrics, was going through that. 9/11 happened. Like a lot of us, at some point I had to leave. And I said, I'm going to get out. I'm going to go find my way in this world. Figured out I'm going to go into the military, into the 18 X-ray program, went through all of that. Joined 10 Special Forces Group. Um, my second deployment, this went to Iraq. Came back and got an anaphylactic shock out of nowhere, go to idiopathic anaphylaxis. Stayed in the military, hit it as best I could. From there, went back to Afghanistan, and that's when Mother Army found out. And they told me, you got to get out. Well, I had a senator stay. I get to stay in because I'm going to do, what's best for me. And I wanted to keep serving. So that kept me for 20 years, retired in July of 2023. Since then, I have founded 50 for the Fallen. I take people on long walks and I make them talk. We'll do a 50-mile walk around anywhere, like August 27th. We're in the United Center. I own the United Center where the Chicago Bulls and Blackhawks are for 24 hours. So we're doing one all inside there. But we do these long walks. We take people where they need to be. We break them down so they can open up the same things you and I, went through and Jenny went through during the course of that trauma bond, like we were talking SOPC. And we get them where they need to go. A lot of the places we take people is either Resiliency Brain Health in Capel, Texas, or Do Good Ranch in Crawford, Colorado. And out of that, these people find their solace, they find their hope. And along with that, I've been fortunate to work with the Pentagon's headquarters department of the Army's G9 on suicide prevention and resilience. I am taking a national position with them, and I am assisting them on a couple different projects to help our servicemen and women that are in and those that are out. And now I get to do things like this and help our fellow service members and veterans. So, Dan, I'll send it back to you.
All right. Well, hey, that was a great introduction and what great causes. I mean, surrounding yourself with good people and doing good things and giving back. I think people underestimate when they talk about, oh, you do good things, you get good things back. It's incredible the amount of people that you'll end up working with. And I'm sure you're seeing that. Can you share a little bit about how you've seen that actually come into play for your life? Like when you were giving, and then how
Yeah.
did that end up flipping and coming back tenfold or however fold?
Yeah. Um, it started when I was about 8 years old. We were going to this church. My dad found this family living in a single wide and they had nothing. It was really sad and they had nothing for Christmas. And he had spoke to the parents. They had nothing to give the kids. And he started a toy drive that ended with the back of his 85 Chevy Custom Deluxe full of toys and clothes. And I remember helping him. They're bringing it to the house and the parents are just weeping in the background. The kids don't see that. They just see a bunch of stuff. And then they saw my dad and they said, "Are you Santa?" And he just broke down bawling. But he was at that moment. And, you know, that just kind of got in me at a young age. This is what you're supposed to do when you grow up poor in Southern Ohio, because we didn't have a lot. We just, shared what we could. Um, it really helped to like set the tone for my life. And then from there, you join the military and you join special forces not to shoot bad guys in the face. I think you really join special forces to make things better than they are. I mean, we free the oppressed, we go out, we help others, and I was fortunate to do that. And I did that in Iraq, 2010, 11. I did Christmas in Kirkuk. We're going from suicide bombers to sleigh bells, is what I said. So I gave Christmas to the city of Kirkuk, because they said Jaish and Jam, a couple of the terrorist organizations at the time there, who became the turds we have now, they decided to they decided if you're going to have Christmas, we're going to bomb the churches. And that's what the bishop there said and all that. So we got with them and we took care of them. And the guys on my team, they really stepped up with me. And we ended up having, without exaggeration, it filled with 20-foot conics of everything that came, plus money and other things. But it was great because the pictures show you have these young kids all in these conga lines with a makeshift Santa, and Christian, Muslim, didn't matter. They're all in the church and they're all just getting Christmas because Santa doesn't know the difference. It's just, here, you're a kid. God bless you. Have something. So that's what we did. And the greatest compliment of my entire military career came that deployment, where the interpreter we had, one of the interpreters, she looks at me and says, "Oh, you're the team Christian. You're the Christian." And that to me is the greatest compliment I've ever had in my life. Coming in the military, I've done some cool stuff. I've been around a bunch, but that was amazing. And then that just kept going to, now we're going to go walk 50 miles on my own to clear my head during COVID. We're going to start a nonprofit. And in between there, I ended up partnering with the Yankees and other people. I shut down the city of New York September 10th of 2021 for the 20th anniversary. And I owned the city to where I had all of us walking, blue lights, the whole thing. Everybody knew why we were there. And it was to help those that were gone, or to say thank you. And we care that you were here, man. It was tough, but I mean, it's hard to put into words how the gratitude you can feel from doing those things without sounding hyperbolic or sounding like you're full of yourself. Because I'm unapologetically Christian, so to me, I do these things and I just give it to God and say, "Hey, this is yours." Just throwing it at your feet because it's not for me, it's for you. But from those events led to more rocks, more walks, connecting to more people. I now, like I said, consult and work with the Pentagon. I work with the most major sports organizations, like leagues. Um, and in doing that, it's always find what you can give first. And the first thing you can give is yourself. You may not have money, you may not have, resources, but I guarantee you can give a little time, and I guarantee you can be there if they call. And I've always said my currency is my contact list. A lot of times I don't want a dollar when I work with these people. I just want them to answer the phone because I'll have something for them on the next time. Um, and it's been amazing because through all that, I met my wife. I have a 4-year-old little girl, and that wouldn't have happened if my dad hadn't said, "Hey, we're doing a toy drive for a family," when I was 8 years old, because that truly did set me on this path. And it's been great. I mean, you could talk the like business success and all that, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the fact of who you get to help in the end of the day, or people are better because of what you did. Maybe they don't even know that you're the one who did it. But as long as they're better, it's like, okay, cool. That's what you do this for.
No, that's great. And I like the passion that I sense and feel from you. And I think that's very important, passion and purpose. And you have those two things. Those are game changers. Can we talk and share with the audience what you can give them for tips to like find their passion or purpose or their calling? Because God does put things in front of us. And sometimes, we
Mhm.
got blinders on and we don't see it.
Yeah. The first thing you have to do is know that it's not about you. If you really want to find out what you should be doing, it's not about you. That's the thing people need to realize when they say, "I want to change the world." No, it's not. It's, who are you doing this for? And I don't care if you believe in the spaghetti monster in the sky. For me, it's Jesus Christ, and that's where I rest my faith, and that's me. But I don't care where you rest your faith. I'll pray for you for not looking to Jesus, but understand that you have to do that first and say, "I'm doing this for something greater than me." Then you'll find out who you are. Because until you do that, you are just looking at yourself. And ego means that you're edging God out. So if you can take yourself and say, "Hey, I don't know what I want to do for myself. I don't know who I am. I don't know any of this stuff." Okay, that's fine. Not a lot of us do. We don't need to be listening to a guidance counselor our junior, senior year of high school saying, "This is you for the rest of your life." It's not. And just like us, our parents, they didn't know what they wanted to do either. When we look at them or the generations before, they figured it out as they went. So we're not behind the power curve when we say, "Oh, I don't know." That's okay. Just keep going forward. As Martin Luther King said, always forward. So with this, and you're looking who you are and what you want to be, if you ask me, the simple ways to do that is to first figure out, where do you rest your faith, your thought, your intention, whatever you want to say. Find that first. Find something that you can hold on to that's bigger than you, because then you have a backstop. Because at some point you're going to fail. At some point you think you're going to go towards a direction, it's not going to work, and you're going to need to fall back on something. To me, that's the start. Then it goes into, oh, this is just me. Find out what it is that you like to do when you're bored. If you don't have anything to do, what do you want to do when you're bored? What are you thinking to do? Or what's your Saturday morning ritual? Because in something there is something you like to do that you could turn into something that you could do forever. For me, a Saturday ritual is I love to catch up with my friends. I love to call people. I call it tending my garden, and I love to keep my contacts going and growing. So that's what I love to do. I reach out to folk. I call. I talk. And through that, I thought, okay, what am I doing when I'm calling and talking folk? I'm checking in on them. Okay, why am I doing that? Because I really want to make sure they're doing well. Okay, well, what's out there that can help me do that? And that got me into consulting. That got me into working with the suicide prevention and other things with the Pentagon. And, that kind of got me where I am today. But I would say for all of your listeners, the biggest the biggest takeaway is that you don't have to know. You just have to go. Like, just go forward, figure it, just walk. Be like, okay, cool. I'm going in this direction, and take some time in that. And it's not going to be immediate. I mean, when you started this, your first podcast wasn't as good as this podcast.
No,
When you started
absolutely.
when you started in the military, when you're in SOB C and you're getting your butt kicked, you're out there. You weren't the operator you were when you left the military. We couldn't even spell SF when we started this thing. And, you kind of learn the language as you go and you get fluent in special operations. It's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in life. Just start in a direction. Like, I joined because I wanted to learn a language. I didn't join to be a special forces and senior sergeant or engineer or any of the things I became. I joined because I wanted to learn more languages. And my recruiter said, hey, you can learn languages in special forces. And they had a quota to try to meet for SOP C guys. And I was the first one to come out at 18 x-rays. And I was the first one to come out of Southern Ohio. So that's how it went. Yep.
God's got a plan, man. That's it. It's you never realize the way it's going to go or whatnot. But I love the fact that you're keying
Yeah.
in on action because a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
people are waiting. They're looking for that window of opportunity or the door to open for them so they can go. And it's no, you just got to go. And
We're
then
in a
as you're
hallway of
going,
open doors.
yeah,
We are in a hallway of open doors. That's the thing, Dan. People don't realize. It is not that they don't have all these closed doors. They're all open, but they just get overwhelmed with the decisions. Like today, y- I live in Colorado Springs. I am talking to you from a device that is shooting to the sky, coming back down, meeting you where you are in real time with no lag, and the picture looks good. Like, that's what's in front of all of us. You have opportunities for anything. The picture looks good, and all you have to do is walk or access. And with all this technology, everything's at your fingertips. Now, the other part of that is the fact that God puts everything at your fingertips, but you're the one who has to grab it, hold on to it, and go with it. And we get scared of that, which is where I think a lot of people think, well, I don't have the opportunities or I can't do this or that. It, it's all right there. Like, I mean, it is. I mean, I saw my
no,
dad as he was,
absolutely.
yeah,
I
I
use
saw
the
my dad. Yeah,
analogy
go
that
ahead.
I stole this a little bit from David Ramsey, but I think it's so good that God feeds the birds and all the animals in the world. But guess what? That bird has to still go out and catch the worm. You still have to do it. You have to get out there. You have to take ownership. Like everything is out there. And I do like your hallway analogy. You got to walk down the hallway and then you'll start seeing what doors are open to the left and right. But if you're just standing at the end going like, "Oh, what am I going to do? Where am I going? What's happening?" Like that's no good. Like you have to move. Go down the hallway or the path of life, whatever analogy works for you, but start taking steps forward. You got to do it. And that just in itself will change the game, will change your trajectory, will change opportunities that are going to be in front of you. And you're a living testimony to it, Chad. I love it.
Yeah, it's funny. You can analogy this to death, but all we were doing is expecting it to open for us and us to stand on a conveyor belt at the airport that walks us or pushes us down a conveyor belt now because we don't want to walk in an airport. And it takes us right to the gate where the door is open that sits us down. And here's your six-figure salary with your beautiful wife, with your amazing wife, with the American dream. And you're not supposed to work for it. I have an aunt. My aunt is an amazing, godly woman who said, well, God will provide me a husband. God will show him up in my life. She's in her 60s and still waiting for God to show this man to her life. Now, I'll also say she has some amazing men in her life that she has not taken the advantage of because she says, well, God will show me. Like you said, you got to go get the worm. You got to go out, be the bird, find the worm and be like, okay, cool. Yep, I'm eating today. She's got to go out there, find the man and be like, yep, that's him for me. Or go out there and actually open up, take the visors off. Um, but when it comes to life and business, it's the same thing. Every day there's an opportunity for you to meet someone new, encounter someone new, do something good for somebody, or re-engage with someone that you have let it slip. You and I, how many friends did we have in the Q course that we may have their contact now but haven't spoken to in forever? And I challenge every person that does my ruck because it's an 18-hour, 50-mile prescribed distance if you're doing the full thing with us. And I always challenge in the same way. You just did 18 hours and you did that with strangers. How many people are in your life that you love and know that you don't give 18 minutes to? Can you call someone for 5 minutes and just check up on them and say that you care for them, you love them, and tell them you're there? And it's interesting because God puts this in front of us at all times. And God wanted us to be together. God wanted us to communicate. God wanted us to go through struggle together, which I think is one of the most beautiful things about doing anything hard is the fact as going through that, you find the beauty and grace in the Lord. Because at all times when it's bad, all you got to do is look up or look inward and say, hey, what do you got, God? And, I remember our SEER school, we're going through SEER school and one of the guys in my course sang Ave Maria the last night. He was actually an opera singer, Joey, and he got just tuned up, as you know, Sears School and all that, and the RTL. And he's getting, beat like he stole something, and then starts singing Ave Maria. And everybody just stopped. It was one of the most beautiful moments. And at that moment, people were quiet. Some people said later they started to pray. Some people later said that they, were just able to find it within themselves. And then the next morning to when we got liberated, all that, it was an easy day. But we were able to look inside and we all were able to say, and then everyone just look up to God. So yeah, it's it's amazing that God lets us live the life we have. Just to be here, I think is a blessing. But
Absolutely. And a miracle.
yeah,
Yeah, like it's you,
there's
me,
no
any
other
of
way to
us that
say
are
it.
walking around, we are miracles. And
Yeah.
to realize that and own that and we're like, wow, I am a miracle. That is very empowering because I think a lot of people forget the miracle that they are and the blessing they are to the world. We get drowned out by all these negativity, things that are on TV or social media or comparing to other people. Don't worry about that. Figure out what your passion is, your why, your purpose, or just start serving. And then those things will appear before you. Like you said, going down the hallway and doors open up. Like just start moving. It's incredible how much things can change. And I think all of us and any of you listeners out there, think about your life when you've gone out and you've done something or been active or some of the biggest memories in your life. You will see exactly what we're talking about because this is the truth. The truth is the truth. You can do it. Things will happen for you. Yeah, there's no magic pill that you can take, but you can do things that increase your odds, that make your life better, that put opportunities in front of you. And if you just keep pushing, you know what? You may hit an obstacle. And speaking of obstacles, I want to hear more from you, Chad, about when you had your IA, I'm going to probably butcher it if I try and say
Idiopath.
anaphylactic.
Yeah. 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 Idiopathic anaphylaxis. Yeah.
Yeah, so to
So
overcome with that mentally and stay strong, like what techniques did you use or how did you do it?
So the Book of Job is a great book if you go back and read it and then take it and put it to your life in perspective today. And I saw my father when I was 12. My father started dying. So my dad died when I was 19, and when I was 12, I had to raise my sister. I became like her parent. My mom mentally and emotionally couldn't handle it, so I took over a lot of what was going on in our household for my sister. Um, she's counterterrorism FBI. She's done really well for herself. So I'm like, cool. I did that for her. Now I'm going to see what I can do with my little science, experiment on my daughter here and see, like, let's see how you do. But how can I do it is the fact I've already done it. Like I spent my entire teenage years in hospitals. I saw my dad die, slowly, or slowly perish. And then I walked in on him dead at the house, and I was in nursing school. So I've been doing the CPR and all that. And I had to coordinate everything. If you can do that, you can do just about anything. People don't realize like how powerful and strong they truly are. But no, I had the idiopathic anaphylaxis. I come back from Iraq, it starts happening. I'm in sniper school, and it's happening to me in sniper school. I finished sniper school, and it's really happening. So I end up finding my way to DLI for 6 months to hide, so I don't get busted with having idiopathic anaphylaxis and get kicked out. Came back, and then who was the first Special Forces Command Sergeant Major, CSM Munter. Ted was my SF dad. I've known him since I got to group, and it's in Germany. So when I got over there, he took a liking to me. But he brought me to his company. He brought me to Afghanistan. I was on 322. Happened more.
Okay,
But
can before you go too far into this, I want you to explain to the audience what is it for people that
oh
don't know.
yeah,
Like
sure.
what was happening to you? What was
What?
changing in
Yeah,
your
like
body or
that.
what was going down? Yeah, what is that stuff?
So idiopathic anaphylaxis is where your body goes into anaphylactic shock. If you ever watch My Girl Macaulay Culkin, he gets stung with the bees and dies. Or you see someone, oh, I have a peanut allergy, and they start choking and they turn like purple or red, and then they can't breathe and their airway closes. That's anaphylaxis. Pathic means that I go into anaphylactic shock at any time for any reason. They have no idea what causes my anaphylaxis. I go to National Jewish in Denver, which is one of the leading respiratory and allergy clinics in the nation. They have no clue. You have cells in your body called mast cells, and they'll go out there and they'll fight other stuff for you in your body, or they can freak out. Mine freaked out, and what'll happen is I'll feel like a tingling in the back of my head, my neck, the back of my head. All of a sudden, I'll feel it here. I'll get a little flush. I may have to immediately go to the bathroom. Just depends. That's a part of it. Honestly, it sounds silly, but all of a sudden, oh no, I have got to go. And then my throat will pretty much go to the size of like a pinhole as tightly as it can close, and I'll turn purple because all the like the blood vessels are like freaking out to say. So that is what happens, and it started after I got back. So we got back uh, more into March, beginning of April of 11, and then come that fall when I was in sniper school, it really started happening through the school, and then in 2012 it was full bore. So I found my way to DLI for 6 months, came back. Just started taking handfuls of histamine blockers and all that to hide it. And then in Afghanistan, it happened on a mission. I had to go through the whole breach, go through everything, do the whole job, and basically breaking down and barely be able to breathe. We got back, double shot of epi. But your body, yeah, at any point, my body will be like, all right, that's enough. Now we're gonna just reset. And it's really fun when you're asleep and you wake up in anaphylactic shock. Or when you're driving on the highway and you're going 75, both of which have happened. But yeah, that's the joy of it. But at the same time, um, I didn't lose all my kids, my land, my cattle, my money, and I'm not covered in boils. So Job had it worse, so I have nothing to complain about. But yeah, that's what it is.
Crazy. So is that under control now? Do you carry an EpiPen
Uh,
or where are
yeah.
you at with
So
this?
for a very long time, I was on a very heavy regiment of histamine blockers. Um, and it's put my body at somewhat at bay, and I keep them here if I need them. I always have epinephrine on me. Um, Now when I take epinephrine, my body is so used to it that I take it, give me 15 minutes, and then I'm just back to work like it's nothing because my body just so used to taking epinephrine. Normally, they say after you take epinephrine, you got to go to the hospital, or they want to administer it at the hospital. I've got just got tubes of it. I just jab myself in the leg and just keep going. Yeah, thank you to the VA for giving me boxes of epinephrine as needed. So, yeah, but I mean, I I have a friend who has a daughter who has a very, aggressive form of leukemia. She's the same age as my daughter. I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, man.
So I like to keep things in perspective, but with that, it's like, what am I complaining about? What is my big problem? Sure, I got to carry EpiPens. Big deal. I have friends who's they're celebrating every day their daughter's alive.
Yeah.
So bring it
No,
back to
and that's
what's actual
powerful.
reality.
And what you're doing too, that I think a lot of people don't realize, is you're focusing on gratitude. Like you just said, my daughter is alive and I'm getting to be with her. You can shift your thought process. Like you could dwell on your condition and be down and out about it, or you're like, oh, this is it. But look at all the blessings I still have. Because if you're a human being, you're going to have struggles. That's what I think a lot of people nowadays forget because they see things on TV or social media. Oh, everything's so wonderful. Look how easy these people have it. Or, oh, they have everything they want. In reality, they're struggling too. They're a human being. They're going to have difficulties. They're going to have medical challenges. They're going to have loss, family members. Everybody struggles. So when you realize that and you accept it, and then you can start shifting your mind to the good things you have, the blessings you have, is a game changer. And I love that you're doing that. And I mean, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously, it was ingrained in you by your dad, or, faith has helped you, or maybe all of the above. But there are things in there that people need to realize. And speaking of people need to realize, you need to realize you can go in the links in the description and you can find more about what Chad's doing, his walks, his foundation. And please give him a follow, check him out, support what he's doing. Because as you hear, he's doing great things, fabulous things. That, and he's an SF brother, and I got to support my brothers, right? Like, that's what we do. We take care of each other. And I also want to ask you to like, subscribe, and share the Asset Mindset podcast. And definitely send this to someone that you think needs to hear it, because there's a lot of good messages here. As you can see, Chad's sharing some real knowledge. So, getting back to that, Chad, when did you feel like your biggest challenge in life where you were on the edge and you're like, man, is it the IA? Is it that
Now,
anaphylactic? Was there a mission? Was there something else in life that you were like, whoa, it was really heavy for you? I want to hear that story and how you overcame it.
the day my daughter was born, she was born at 2:22 on January 4th of 2021. The hardest day of my life was that night because my wife had lost a good amount of blood. My daughter is on the right side of me, my wife's on the left side of me. She tries to sit up, she turns totally gray. And they gotta bring in a cart and get to her, and, like, I am pushed out of the way because they gotta keep her alive. I have my hand on my daughter. I have my wife right here. For the rest of that night, I didn't sleep. I had my daughter, I had my wife, and that was the hardest night of my life because I thought to myself, "How could I be a father without a wife? What if my daughter never got to know her mom, if something would have went bad there?" And then after losing my father, I brought that up, but that to me, that was the toughest night of my life, but it's where I rested the most into God. And then when the sun rose the next day, I was like, do anything. Doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter, because if you can get through those kind of things, you can get through anything. But yeah, that was it. And I got through it because I just was like, just giving it to you, God. There's nothing else I can do. So my left hand hold my wife's foot on her right foot. I'm holding that, and my right hand's sitting there with not even a day old baby, and I'm just sitting back in the dark. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
we're
giving
gonna
it to
get through
God.
this.
That's all. Yeah,
And
like it's.
that's all I could do. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then whatever hours later, I mean, the sun rose, and there we are. That's the. I mean, that's it. I mean, there's nothing I did in the military that handles that. There's nothing. I mean, yes, me and my dad passed and doing that, and there's a whole story there. But like,
Mhm.
that's the that's what's reality. It's like, and if you look at what God said, you have your heavenly Father, you have your wife, you have your children, you have everyone after, but those were all in one space at one place for me, and it was just like God was just like, "Doop, all right, what are you gonna do, boy? This is you." And at that
Yeah.
point, you just got to look up and be like, "All right, I'm back to you. You're looking down at me. I'm looking up at you. What do we got? I'm just gonna give it to you." So
Yeah.
that was it.
Wow. Yeah, that's. I didn't go through a whole night, but I had a similar experience when my daughter Hazel was born. and everything's going good, but all of a sudden nobody cares about my daughter anymore, and my wife's still bleeding and hemorrhaging, and other people are coming in the room, and I'm like, nobody. I'm like, whoa, this is serious, and they're trying, and I was just like, I had the flash. I didn't go all night, but I was like, I'm gonna be blunt, like, holy shit, I could be a parent with alone, yeah, that's scary, and you can hear me choking up a little bit, so I can only imagine going through the whole night. I mean, they had her bleeding stopped in about an hour and a half, but, yeah, that was a scary moment and a reality check, and you got to have faith. And anyone out there, you're struggling with something, just like Chad said, give it a God, have faith. Things are going to happen and you can't control everything. That's the serenity prayer. Like you can't control everything. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Hmm.
And that's how it is. And if you can realize that, it can really help you get through those tough moments. And I'm glad you got through it. I'm glad your wife got through it and your daughter. And wow, it's one of those things. Denny and I, even in the background here, my producer, we talked about that when his daughter was coming. I'm like, just wait, man. We've done some crazy things, but when you're a dad and you hold that
Hmm.
child in your hands, like that's game changer. So, but
You
so
know,
how's your
the
wife and daughter doing now?
they're great. My wife's a very successful interior designer, and she's way cooler and smarter and better than me in in all these facets. I'm just glad I get to tag along. And then my daughter just started preschool, so that's really rad to see her come home and be like, "Dad, we did. Dad, I did." It's just cool because it's like that's so awesome. You got to finger paint, and all these things, and you're like, "This is why I'm not in the military anymore. This is why I retired at 20 years. This is why I'm so grateful to be able to live the life I can because her life is lived with us. Like it's not like that we're living separate lives. And as a little kid, she's got to do these things and that things. It's like we do, we go, it's us. And her memories will be of us together, which, that's something my wife and I wanted to make sure happened. You talk about the serenity prayer. There's some things that they forgot to put in. And it's the humility and gratitude to know where all of this is coming from. And, we go back to that of gratitude and humility. And I truly think they go hand in hand. You have to be grateful for the struggles you're going through because an easy life is something I never want. I never want
Hmm.
an easy life. I think an easy life is a road to hell because if you're going through it really easy and everything's great, that means the devil's not going after you. That means you're not fighting for God. That means he knows he's got you in his pocket. So you got to have some struggle. I mean, if you look at the disciples, you look at the apostles, I don't think they had easy lives or deaths. I think was it 8 of them that were crucified and 6 were upside down or they were stoned or stabbed. Come on. The only one who died a decent death was John on the island of Patmos, but he was just in seclusion. But I mean, come on, man. It's so simple to say, "Hey, God, give me some struggle because I know through it I'm going to be closer to you." And we got to be okay with that. We got to be okay with struggle. So,
And growth. That's where
yeah.
growth comes from. People
Yes.
forget that all the time. Like those struggles, like going, let's get the basic science. Like go to the gym and working out. You're struggling to lift those weights. What does it do?
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
makes you stronger.
Hmm.
Like, so realize the struggles that you have are blessings. You may not realize it at the moment, but if you can reframe your mindset, and that's what we're about here is changing your mindset. If you can change it to realize this struggle right now is making me stronger, is making me a better person, bringing me closer to God, maybe bringing me closer to my wife or my family members that I'm going through the struggle with. People bond through struggle. We know that. Like you talked about
Yeah.
SEER school or SOPSI or
Yeah.
SF or
Yeah. I
buds
mean,
for Navy SEALs, like
yeah,
you will bond and grow.
you will. And I think there's a joy in that trauma bond because that's why there's a difference between um pre-mom and mom when you look at women because when my wife was pregnant, all of the people who are around her who had kids and went through that pain and that struggle, they had some wisdom and something behind those eyes that my wife hadn't seen yet. And that's different. And having children, you and I know, Danny, there's a difference there of being a husband and being a father. There's a difference there of having to just be with your wife and be like, okay, what are you doing? Okay, I'm doing this. And then having another life in that equation and being like, okay, what are we doing now? Because now it's about us. And it does go from we to us very fast. And I mean, I love it. I do. I mean, I think, for all of your listeners out there, if you're going through it, keep going through it. I truly mean that because there's grace and there's humility and there is beauty in the struggle. And it doesn't mean that you have to, no offense to Jocko and David Goggins, you don't have to always stay hard and be mean and angry. Sometimes laugh in it. Sometimes just pray. Sometimes get down on your knees, open your hands and say, God, I can't do it, but I know through you I can find a way because you're not going to do it yourself. But I think to be that vulnerable is to be strong because how many times are you stacked on a door and you're ready to go in and you need someone there with you? You need a gimme one. You're not going to do it yourself. And even if you're by yourself, God's got your shoulder for the squeeze just to talk breach, just to talk CQB talk for your listeners. Hey, cool. Someone's going to be there with me. They're going to be mid-barrel dip or the squeeze, and we're going to go in together. I'm never going to go in alone. And I think we need to realize that even when you think you're by yourself, you're not. All you have to do is ask God for that help. He'll always give you the dips, the squeeze, or always be there for you. And that's the thing I think that to take it back to you asking, how do you find out what you want to do? Tell God you need the squeeze. Give me one. And honest to goodness, watch what
Yeah.
happens. Watch the person he puts in front of you and look at the open door. Someone's going to come out, grab a hand, pull you in and be like, let's go. There's a person I'm going to introduce you to, Bert Soren of Sorenex. He is the owner of the company. Most guys at Group, they have Sorenex equipment at their gyms. It's what they buy. Bert is a very strong Christian and just a physically imposing human being. He was a collegiate thrower and a giant, human being. But Bert's a guy who can tell you the beauties of struggling well. He's the guy that's going to he's one of the people I look up to. I do. I think of him as a big brother and to see how he is able to do it and have a life of strength. And for him, his strength is first his faith, then his, beautiful wife and their kids. And then it's, the community and the tribe that he's built, and then just the empire that is Soren exercise equipment now. But you see that with him and with his community and what they do because their lives revolve around strength and struggle. But it always starts at the cross. So to bring up another thing we're going to be doing for Strength and Struggle, if any of your listeners are in Colorado Springs or want to join us virtually, September 11th. I did it last year, so I know I can do it again. I put 110 pounds on my back, and then I went up the incline, which is about a mile of railroad ties that go straight up the side of a mountain.
Yep.
So last year, a friend of mine, he and I both had 110 pounds on our back, and we did it for the 110 floors of the towers. So it was two of us. There was two towers, both had 110 floors. That's why we had the weight in the back. We went up the incline. We're going to do it again this September 11th. If anybody wants to join us, you can reach out to me, Chad at 50FTF, social media. It's all me. I answer it all. And through that, you can reach out and we can, struggle together, kind of
Make it
laugh
happen.
about it. Yeah, just be like, okay, cool. We're here. We're going up there. Let's see how let's see how this goes. And just like in life, when you're looking up to the cross, it's the same thing. You're gonna struggle. It's gonna suck, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get where you're wanting to go. And the view from the top is pretty special. But
Yeah.
you're not gonna
And
do it alone.
in the journey, you're going to realize you're more powerful than you thought you were. That's one of the things I think people lose all the time. They have fear and doubts in their head and like, oh, I can't. And you'll be amazed if you change that, what you can do, what you can achieve, and just keep pushing one foot in front of the other. And I know you mentioned, Jocko and David Goggins, sometimes, yeah, you need to be hard, but guess what? Most carpenters or auto mechanics, they have more than one tool in their toolbox. Have that hard
Absolutely.
tool, but have
Yeah.
that, embrace the suck or use humor, joking around, something to stay positive. Like use all these tools that you're learning, the tools we're sharing with you. They're out there, and at different times, they will help you in different ways. and God's there, and he's going to, let you be able to be the architect of your life, and you can change and do things and use the tool that's appropriate for that time. And sometimes, yeah, you got to be hard. Sometimes you just have to laugh and be like, wow, this really sucks. It's raining on me. I'm cold. We've all been, I'm hungry. It is what it is. But before we wrap it up too much, Chad, I want to talk about fear. And I can tell, getting to know you more on the show and whatnot, that fear isn't a big player because you have faith. But a lot of people do have fear in their lives that hold them back. So, say someone's afraid to start a business, or someone's afraid to move or leave a relationship, or whatever it may be. Let's talk about fear. I want to get your mindset and thoughts on it.
I think fear and ego go hand in hand, personally. I think a lot of fear is ego because I think you're putting yourself before God. You're putting yourself before, you know, I mean, before God, before the creator, because you're saying, oh no, I'm afraid of this. Oh no, I can't. Oh no, oh no. And it's like, guess what? God let Peter walk on water. I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine. I'm pretty sure Christ went down to hell and got the keys and rose on the third day. No matter what you're afraid of, it's not that bad. I'm pretty sure that, you know, I'm pretty sure that what you're going through is the hardest thing you've ever gone through, or what you're looking at is the most impending and imposing and scary thing you've ever gone through. But trust me, people have gone through that exact same thing before, or people have seen and went through and smiled on the end, because to be afraid is just to say that you're more important than God, because you're not resting in God. You're not giving everything you can to say, okay, let's go. I'm sorry, it's just what it is to me. Fear is good though. Fear is something that we have for a reason. There are reasons that kids are naturally afraid of predators and the dark and those things, because there are things in the dark that can get us. There are bad things out there. That's okay. But, you know, if you just rest in God's hands and say, okay, I'm afraid, but, and just step, the fear goes away. It does. And, you know, we don't all have to be Alex Honnold and not have an amygdala response to fear, which he doesn't. His brain doesn't work that way. Most of ours does. Or they do. But for us, it goes back to me to, where do you rest your faith? Because if you're resting your faith in something greater than yourself, your fear goes to the wayside, because you have faith in something greater than you, who is bigger than your fear. And the only reason you have that fear is because you don't trust in the Lord. If you're Christian, spaghetti monster in the sky, whatever it is, if you don't have faith in something else, you will have fear. But I truly think that if you have faith and you can rest in the Lord, a lot of that fear goes to the wayside.
I agree completely. And that's, guys like us jump out of airplanes every time. And, I had faith. And if it's my time, it's my time. And people that have served in the capacity we've served, or been to combat, or gone down range, you kind of have to come to terms with that. I mean, if you do not, it's going to mess with you mentally. And I think that's something that's very powerful that we've been able to have and realize and acknowledge, because most guys on teams or anybody in the military, I mean, there are certain exceptions. I don't want to put everybody in the exact same lump sum, but most of us are just like, it's going to be what it's going to be. God's got a plan. If it's my time, I mean, how else do you jump out of a plane knowing that, hey, you could splat, or you kick in a door, or like us, we blew doors in, like that could go bad. Cause, I talk about in my book, there were times I didn't have a gun in the fight. And I'm sure you're the same way as the breacher. What's your whole mission? You got to get the charge to the door. Your gun's down. You're holding the charge to blow the door.
Yeah. I got a stick of explosives. I'm running. Yeah, no. Yeah,
Towards
exactly.
the target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. You talk about that. When I was our group master breacher at 10th group for a bit, and
Okay.
I'm working with the Dutch Soft, and I'm behind cover, but I ended up they blow a door. I'm behind cover, and I take somehow a piece of metal bounces and hits me right in the neck, and I have it at the house here. It's about a half-inch long piece of blasting cap that curled up, hit me in the neck and
Wow.
rode, and didn't penetrate. It's it went between my carotid and jugular and my larynx here, so it sat right there. And they're like, "Oh, that's the triangle of death." And you talk about being a breacher and to go through and having the fear and just letting stuff happen. I went back the next day and had to teach breaching again. And it's like, there's no reason. I just was like, all right, God, now I'm dodging bullets. So I kept it. I have it in the house here. If I'd have known, I'd have brought it in. I still have it in the specimen jar they gave it to me, and I'm not ever leaving it from there. Whenever I get a
Oh,
little
good.
too, whenever I get a little too braggadocious, or I'm thinking too much of myself, I go in there and grab that and be like, okay, this isn't you, dude. God's got you here for a reason.
Hmm.
Because I have that thing that they took out of right there. But it's isn't it such a blessing the life we get to live and the fact we can look back on it now and say that was God, that was God, that was God, that was God. Because I really do think when you deal in a business of life and death at death at times, I'm not saying we're John Wayne. I'm saying that you and I have seen things and done things and experienced things that a lot of folk haven't, and it deals with life and death. Some where we had to protect our friends from dying, some where we actually had to take life. It really puts a lot of stuff into perspective
Hmm.
about how blessed and lucky we are. For you, did you lose any friends in combat? Did you have anyone fall
Uh,
that you knew?
yes, I got 4 people close to me. One of them actually, I wasn't super close with Jeff, but he helped train me. He actually, Jeff Kettle, from Seventh Group.
Jeff Kettle
He,
is an amazing American.
yeah.
I
All right. So
remember him.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. He did SOPC 2 and stuff like that over there. Amazing guy in small world. Like God's got a plan. I'm friends with his buddy, Andy, that he
He had the
served with
best
before
laugh.
the one. Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
the best laugh. Ha ha! Just, I love that
Today's
guy.
his day, right?
Yeah.
His killed in
No,
action, August 12th. Yes. It's today. So small world and crazy, whatever. So, and I didn't know you knew Jeff, but God bless you, Jeff, man. We miss you, and you're a great American. And thank you for all you did in mentoring me and sharing. And God
he's
bless
a
your
great guy.
family. And yeah, amazing human being. So yeah, Jeff, Josh Whitaker was a good buddy of mine. He was a younger kid, but we hit it off. He was one of those ones that was always looking for a mentor, and wanted to learn. And I was a little older because, 18 X-ray. I turned 28 in basic training. So I was an older guy and he was a little younger. And, I brought him, we had Labor Day weekend leave or whatever. And I brought him up to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and he had lobster for the first time and different things, clam boils,
That's
and he didn't
awesome.
make it. And
Did you
he,
know Eric Caban?
yes, but not super well. But yeah,
Another great guy. Eric was
yeah,
another amazing, amazing person.
I didn't know you
Yeah.
knew Eric. So all right.
Yeah.
Well, you're 10th
Another.
group, but still, those are the guys that
It was
came
the
through at
SOP
that
C.
time.
It was the Q course and SOP C crew. And, you guys at the seventh group, you guys took a horrible run there, just in a small amount of time. It was just like one after the other for you guys. It was
Yeah.
rough. Um,
Yeah. Oh 07, oh 08, that there was some tough times in there, but we did a lot of great things too. But Josh Whitaker, I found out I was boarding, a helo to go do a hit. And it was one of those company hits. So there was another team coming in and whatnot. And I was out, I don't know what I was doing or whatever. And I didn't hear whatever chatter or things that were going down. And I didn't know he'd got killed. And this other guy, Mason, was wearing a memorial patch that said Whitaker.
mm,
And I'm like, what? Like my
yeah.
whole brain, my gears, like, no, wait a minute. Like this is and he's already got the patch made because where he was at in Salerno, and they had I didn't have that at the fire base. We didn't have somebody who can make patches, and I ended up getting one, and I got their names on my arm down in here and
Hmm.
memorials. But yeah, so I lost guys that I was close with. Served with Dave Nunez was another one. He was my squad leader in the 18 Charlie course. Amazing individual. He was fantastic. In my company, we lost Master Sergeant Art Lilly, and he was a great guy, multiple tours. He mentored a lot of people in the company, and he was almost my first team sergeant, but he said I was too big to be on the mountain team because I'm like 6'4", 200 and something pounds. He's like, no, he goes, you're a good guy and whatnot, but I don't want somebody that big that I might have to carry down the mountain.
No, you're made to be a sky god as big as you are. You're made to Halo. Yeah, I was always thrown on a mountain team. I always wanted to go to a scuba team. It's like, no, you're going to a mountain team. So I was always on a mountain team. But I just brought it up because how blessed are we to know those guys? How blessed are
Incredibly.
we to have those people like Eric Caban and Josh Kettle? Like to me, like going through the course as a young kid who couldn't spell SF, and, came out of college and felt arrogant, to have mentors like that who had been and done. And, it was just like, dude, I'm so lucky to have those guys. Rolfing, a dude out of 10th group, same thing for him. I had two friends that died quick, Rob Pirelli and Pat Kuchbaugh, both of which,
My God, Rob. I know Rob super well. Rob
yeah.
Pirelli from Boston. I have a shirt still that his dad gave from he went home on leave and wow man, small
Mhm.
world. God bless you,
Yeah.
Rob Pirelli, always smiling, typical Italian, like it just but awesome dude, like
Oh yeah.
amazing.
Amazing, amazing person. Yeah. Him and Pat both, man, just great people, and you're so blessed to get to know these folk and see these folk. And I think at some point, it's now your responsibility to keep going forward for them and pushing for them and being, like you have that on your arm, not to show people, oh, I'm a special forces guy. It's because no, because the sacrifice they gave is what helped build me to who I am, and they're part of your foundation. Um, and I'm covered in tattoos like all of us. And my argument was always, churches have stained glass. So I always loved, I love tattoos and big ink and all that. But how lucky are we to have these people and get to know these folk?
Incredibly.
But truly, I mean, it is the job that we were given, because I truly think we were given that God blessed us to have this job. The job that we were given is one that you can't take away. Because there's times where you get to land on the X and shoot the bad guy and do the cool stuff and fly out and be done. And then there's other times where you're going to go do a JSET or work with folk, or you're going to be the person they call the Christian, which to me is still so rad. But through all that, all you got to do is just realize that it's all God giving it to you because you can handle it, one, and two, because he loves you. And it's such an amazing adventure we get to go on, man. We're so
Incredible.
lucky. We're so lucky. But yeah, it's cool you got to know Kettle and Eric, and it's
Yeah,
awesome.
Rob's sister reached out to me, I think, like last year on his anniversary. I said
Yeah.
something, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Thank you so much for keeping my brother's, name alive." And I'm like, "Please, like that's an honor." Like these guys, if I have a bad day, I mean, if my girls aren't around to look at them and see that miracle, I look down at my arm and I think of these guys and I want to honor them. Like this is bigger than me. God's got a plan, God's got work. I never set out to be an author. I never set out to be a podcaster. But you know what? It's been put in front of me. It's helping people. It's changing people's lives. You're changing people's lives, Chad. I love it. I'm so glad to have you on here because you are doing exactly what I'm trying to teach and train people. And that's what guys like us do. We try and teach and train people to better their lives, to make a difference in the world. And you're doing that. And it's an absolute honor. I'm so glad that you came on the show. I really am. But before we wrap it up, I want you to share, and I think I know where you're going to go with this because you're a good Christian and God-fearing man, but what would you want the listeners to walk away with about mindset and life from our episode today? What's their takeaway?
The takeaway is that when you're feeling down, look up to the cross. One, two, go read Job. Go back and read the book of Job. See what he went through. Understand that it's okay to go through struggle, because sometimes we're being tested for reasons. And all you have to do is go to God. And then third, be grateful that you're going through it, because there are people in life who would kill to go through your struggles. And all you have to do is say, thank you. Thank you, Lord God. I'm here because of you. And like you said, every day, it's amazing that we get to be here. And the last thing I will say is find the funny or find the good in whatever you're going through. I was in SEER school. We were in the cage, getting hosed, naked, getting beaten, all that. And it was St. Patrick's Day when I'm in there. It turned into, I was like, it's probably midnight, so it's St. Patrick's Day. So I look over and I go, Happy St. Patty's. And then, I commenced to getting my butt whooped for it. But it was so much fun just to have a moment of laughter and enjoy it. But take the time, and when you're feeling down, just look up. And then if you need somebody, because we have to have a tribe, we have to have people we connect with. God said where two or more are gathered, he is there. You can't do it alone. So find that person, those people, and connect with them. If you don't feel like you have anybody, you've got Dan, you've got myself, you've got a whole tribe of believers coming out of special operations who, to me, we're doing the work the work on two fronts. We're doing one, we did it the military, and two, we're doing the real fight, which is against the devil and what's going on this earth. So no matter what, you've got someone who actually has your six, and you can say, "Give me one," and they'll be there. And if they're not, God is. So reach out to me if you need me. Chad at 50ftf.org, and social media, 50 for the Fallen. You can look us up. I'm there and I answer it. I'll give you my phone number if you want to talk, because I'd much rather talk to you face to face or on the phone over anything else. And August 27th, join us, Chicago. I own the United Center for 24 hours. And we're going to do 50 miles all inside the United Center, from a concourse to concourse to stairs, and then back up. And then from there, we got some pretty fun stuff this fall. But no matter what, just don't edge God out. Know that God has you, and just understand it's okay to go through it. But yeah, Dan, I think I do remember you now in the course, which I think is awesome. But you and I got to talk. I think I got some fun stuff you'll want to get involved in here. I'm pretty excited to see where we go.
Hey, man, we're already, in the same tribe, and let's be teammates some more and make things happen, and everybody out there, all those things that Chad was just talking about, 50 for the Fallen or whatnot, those are in the description. So hit pause, go in there, or just go in the description. You can find links and you'll be able to connect with Chad or myself. And always don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and share this amazing episode, because it has been a fantastic one. Thanks again, Chad. And more than anything, people, don't forget, own your power.